Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel. Let's talk SmackDown. I'm doing this the day after, finally, some consistency that isn't just Monday Night Raw. Eventually, I'll get on to doing it with SmackDown, but as of right now, not yet. So let's talk about something in the mid-card that is booming, and that is the United States title. I think Solo Sikoa is doing a great job, and Solo Sikoa has been heavily underrated for so long. And let's talk about a legendary career, a little side run that he has had. I mean, in NXT, he came up, obviously we knew he was the Uso's brother, but they didn't use that. You know, that wasn't his reason. He was good in the ring, he was North American champion, and then he debuted on the main roster, and he was a powerful member of the Bloodline. Like, he was the enforcer. He was known as a badass you don't fuck with. And even beat John Cena in a singles match. Do you know what I mean? And then, after Roman Reigns went down, Solo went on his own solo run, you know, no pun intended, with his own Bloodline crew, where he became his own boss, and he had a dangerous crew, and he meant something. And he was in main event matches with Randy Orton, on PLEs as well, against Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and fighting for the WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. While he may not have won them all, he was in those matches, and a lot of time he beat people, and he was in matches with people he shouldn't have been. Yeah, he's got a great promo skills. He's got a great character, he's got a great theme. Yeah, and even though he's got a second crew now, and he's got the US title, he just beat a fan favourite Jacob Fatu to get that title. Do you know what I mean? And made it a short run, but thought Jacob would take it back, and he didn't. Solo beat him a second time. We've got to put some respect on Solo Sikoa's name, and he's doing bits for the United States title division, let's be honest. I honestly, right now, think Solo Sikoa is the best United States champion in the last couple of years. I mean, who was better? Jacob Fatu wasn't better. Jacob Fatu only held it for a month or two. LA Knight sadly wasn't better. I mean, LA Knight was good, but he wasn't better than Solo Sikoa. Shinsuke Nakamura definitely wasn't. And who was before LA Knight? It was Logan Paul. And then, you know, before Logan Paul, it was Rey Mysterio. And now we're talking, what, 2023? Solo Sikoa's been a great United States champion. Let's just talk about it. But last week, Sami Zayn answered an open challenge in Toronto, and then beat Solo Sikoa in a non-title match. And then Solo attacked him on Monday Night Raw with his MFTs. So it was only right to assume that we're going to continue this, which is great. That's exactly what I wanted. So Solo came out, and he cut a promo on Sami Zayn. And then Sami Zayn came out, and then he said, we actually thanked Solo, and Solo was like, oh, yeah, cool. And then he says, although he can't go after the world title right now, because thanks to Solo, that's gone. Solo's given him a new awakening and showed him that there's other opportunities, there's other things you can do, and now he wants to go after the one title besides the world title that he's never held in WWE, and that is the United States Championship. And that's when Solo Sikoa, you're very loud, apologies. And that's when Solo Sikoa was like, absolutely not, get out, you're not even yet, you're a Raw superstar, leave. And then that's when Sami Zayn broke the news that he's now a SmackDown superstar. And while this was, to me, a good thing, because I felt like Raw had all the main roster superstars, like main event superstars, and SmackDown had all like the tag superstars and mid-card superstars. I felt like there was an imbalance. I felt like this was a good idea. Until I went on Instagram and I noticed something. Someone posted the fact that literally just after WrestleMania, when Seth's a new faction was formed with Paul Heyman, they offered Sami to go to SmackDown, and they'd give him a WWE title shot just to avoid the danger, and he turned it down because he wanted to be a righteous man. He wanted to do things the fair way. Only just for him to now move to SmackDown just to chase some other gold because he can't get the world title. It's a bit hypocritical, but I don't mind it because it's fresh, and it's keeping Solo Sikoa's reign hot, and I'll be honest, that is exactly what it is. And then that's when obviously a fight broke out, and the same, you know, Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso come out, save the day, and it sets up a 6-man tag for the main event. Anything else more typical weekly episodic TV show of WWE? It's a big fight and a 6-man tag, let's be honest. And that 6-man tag resulted in, well, Sami Zayn pinning Solo Sikoa, and I'm glad this time it was Tonga Loa in the match and not Tola Tonga, because we need it, you know. Tonga Loa's been in WWE over a year now, and I couldn't tell you like 2 moves that he does. I genuinely couldn't. And he was a successful TNA star, so I'm surprised by that, really. And Sammy, although like pinning Solo, this obviously, right, so he's pinned him twice, and that's the champion, that's the main guy in that match. This has to mean a US title shot for Sami Zayn. And I would like Sammy to win the US title. I think it would look cool. But at the same time, I don't want Solo's reign to end. It's doing great. So, yeah, I don't mind it. But while we're on the topic, and we're keeping the MFTs involved, obviously last week they won a tag team match against Motor City Machine Guns, and they were #1 contenders now for the tag team titles. Only we're not saying that match. They've made no mention of the match, and there's been plenty of tag team shenanigans going on, like The Miz and Carmelo Hayes beat Fraxium, and Street Profits beat DIY. And in all these tag team matches, the White Six have been making appearances. Like when Solo and the MFTs were prepping for their 6-man tag, Taratonga was concerned about something behind them, and he was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, nothing." And Eric Rowan was in the distance, and I had to really like look to see, like, that's how far away he was, but he was being creepy. And when The Miz and Carmelo Hayes were teaming up against Fraxium, Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy were waiting in the stands, and it was creeping them out. And it doesn't matter who, but whoever's in the tag division, the Wyatt Six have got control of. And it's an interesting dynamic, and I'd love to see how the stories worked. Because when the Wyatt Six first came around, they were going after people that betrayed their friends. Only now they're heels, I think. And I don't really know what the meaning is behind it, because they're kind of told with it in a cryptic way that, like, it's bigger than you think, it's bigger than fame and money and championships. So I want to see how it unfolds, because it is interesting. But on the topic of tag teams, obviously Miz and Carmelo Hayes beat Fraxium, which is a big win, because Fraxium are a great team. But Miz did it by tagging himself in after Carmelo Hayes did all the damage and stole the win. And it's obviously, you know, Miz managed to scoop Carmelo Hayes back under his wing after Carmelo was like, "What is this?" And he's took advantage to get the win and to get ahead. And while Carmelo Hayes wanted to chase a United States title shot, The Miz was like, "Whoa, steady down, that's not where you're going." Led into an argument with Motor City Machine Guns with some decent one-liners. I mean, Chris Sabin said to Carmelo Hayes, "Are you him or are you his?" Because they were hitting at the fact that The Miz is manipulating Carmelo Hayes, which is obvious to see. And then that's when The Miz referred to Motor City Machine Guns as Motor City Squirt Guns, which also was pretty funny, because Miz did all right. Even in the match, he was doing high fly moves against the high flyers. Like, The Miz is so, while you can tell there's things he's not great at, he always finds a way to get his own thing in, even if it's not his niche. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was interesting. So that's set up a #1 contenders match. Well, not #1 contenders match, but, you know, set up a match between Motor City Machine Guns and Carmelo Hayes and The Miz for next week, which I'm interested to see. But I am interested to see where Carmelo Hayes and The Miz are going, and if it's going to be a storyline where Carmelo Hayes turns face, or the two become a successful duo. I don't know, and I don't care. Not that I don't care, but I prefer either, really, because they need to do something with Carmelo Hayes, but also need to do something with Miz. Let's not squash either. Miz is a talented veteran, and Carmelo Hayes is a talented up-and-comer who needs to be utilised, let's be honest. But yeah, as for the DIY Street Profits match, obviously we know the beef from all the past months, so they were having a match to become #1 contenders, and the Street Profits won. So we've got the MFTs, we've got the Street Profits, we've got a bunch of people lined up for those tag titles. But we don't know who's actually next, because there's been no match announced for next week, or a future SmackDown match, or for Clash in Paris. God knows. Maybe they're doing another multi-man match where, okay, Street Profits have beat DIY, MFTs earned a #1 contendership, maybe the winner of Motor City Machine Guns and Melodon Miz, and maybe they'll do a fatal 4-way. I don't know, but let's keep it interesting. Let's actually keep active at it, because that I would like to see. Trying to think what else we had. Obviously, we had a couple non-title feud things, like R-Truth and Aleister Black. Now, Aleister Black's feud with Damian Priest stemmed from R-Truth. Aleister Black was kind of going after R-Truth, and, well, Damian stuck up from him. And after last week's encounter with John Cena, R-Truth has being the comedic R-Truth again, and he was getting an interview, and Aleister Black interrupted it, like, what happened to you? And kind of threatened R-Truth, and R-Truth stood up for himself, and Aleister was like, there we go, now I'm talking to Ron Killings. And it was interesting because it plays into Aleister Black's character very well. Like, he was able to, in a split second, turn R-Truth to Ron Killings and bring something out of him. That's interesting. I like the work they're doing with Aleister Black. I just need more in-ring matches that have an ending and a winner. So yeah, that was interesting. Apart from that, I don't think there was anything else non-title. I mean, Alexa Bliss faced off against Piper Niven, but that's for women's tag titles. After last week, Charlotte Flair tapping out Chelsea Green. I'm starting to think we're probably going to get Secret Service for the tag titles at some point, maybe even Clash in Paris. Which, yeah, I won't complain because keep them active. We need to revive the women's tag division. And apart from that, it's just the world title divisions, which for Tiffany Stratton, I don't know, because she was arguing with Jade Cargill backstage because Jade Cargill won the rematch. Nia Jax butted her head in and said, look, at least when I won Queen in the Ring, I actually won the title. But we've seen Tiffany, Nia, too many times now. Tiffany's held that belt since January, so 7 months. And I'd say 80% of the matches she's had is against Nia Jax. She's defended that title probably about 6 times, and 3 of them have been Nia Jax. Not even joking. The only other different ones I can think of is Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, and Trish Stratus. And again, a one-on-one Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton wouldn't make much sense because there's no story, there's no build-up. Why would you have Jade lose at SummerSlam just for them to run the match back? And either Tiffany beat her again or Jade take the title. Either way, it doesn't make sense. So maybe they could do something with a triple threat match. It just looks a bit dead there for the main event women's scene on SmackDown. Maybe they're waiting for Bianca Belair to make a return, make it interesting, but they need to do something, and they need to do something quick because there's actually nothing for Tiffany Stratton, and it's been that way since she won the title. Not her fault. Completely WWE's booking fault, but like, come on, man. Seriously, that's why I thought dropping the title to Jade would have been a better thing, because it freshens it up, you know. And I feel like that's what I'm saying about a lot of things all the time, but it's true. I hate when things go stale. It's just, unless it has a revival, and then that's great. But I either want a revival or a change, because I can't be doing this stale crap. Yeah, and then she did have a run-in with Kiana James, who's been running around with her business cards trying to get people to join her and Julia, but nobody's been taking it. And Tiffany literally just shut her down. And that's when Michin got involved, because she's looking for a United States title shot. And yeah, I mean, basically just send a warning. Julia, nowhere to be seen. No matches for Julia. What is going on, man? Why is it the ones that have so much potential that we're just not seeing? Carmelo Hayes and Julia, why aren't we using that? Come on, man. And finally, the WWE title scene. I mean, last week it was Drew McIntyre putting Cody Rhodes head through the announce desk. And he came to cut a promo and he said, everyone's asking me why I attacked Cody Rhodes. Well, I never did. Cody Rhodes attacked me. And to be honest, I noticed this last week and I thought it was weird, because when Logan Paul ended the match in disqualification, Cody Rhodes just slammed Drew McIntyre's head into the ring post. And I thought, while obviously they were fighting and stuff like that, and it was a match, it's not the face thing to do. So he's right, Cody Rhodes did attack Drew McIntyre first. He threw him into the post, slammed him off the announce desk. So Drew McIntyre just retaliated, and he just obviously retaliated a lot better. So I see his point. And he was on about Cody tries too hard to be liked. He doesn't hate Cody, he just feels bad for him, because Drew McIntyre 5 years ago is what Cody Rhodes is now, doing everything that corporate wants him to because he cares about what people think, until it doesn't matter anymore and it's taken away from you. And then you realise you just got to take things for yourself. And honestly, Drew McIntyre's got a point. I want this match at Clash in Paris. I really do. This is a great match. And I will never complain. Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes match, it's going to slap. The only sad part for me is that there's no hope for Drew McIntyre winning, because Cody Rhodes just newly won the belt off of John Cena. And he's not going to lose it to Drew McIntyre anytime soon. I'd love him to lose it to Drew McIntyre, but it's not going to happen. Right? Not because I don't like Cody's reign, not because I want Cody to have a short reign, but Drew McIntyre deserves to be champion. And maybe Cena winning at SummerSlam, retaining, wouldn't have been the worst idea if it meant Cena went to Clash in Paris and lost to Drew McIntyre. Might have been a bit more anticlimactic and a bit more of a bolder move for losing Cena's 17th World Championship, but then at least we wouldn't have had to have the Logan Paul John Cena match, and we wouldn't have had to have a Cody short range, you know what I mean? So maybe that would have been my way of going about it, but I can see why they didn't do that, obviously. And I don't know where Brock Lesnar fits in any of this, because Brock Lesnar didn't show up last week after his SummerSlam appearance, and he didn't show up this week. There's been no mention, nothing. So I don't know if that was just a shock factor moment, but they better do something, because it's not going to make sense at some point, do you know what I mean? And a little side note to add on, regarding, well, Monday Night Raw news, obviously we heard Naomi was out of action or wasn't medically cleared, but they never told her what it was. I've seen rumblings online, and I don't know whether to believe it or not. I'm trying to stay away from the dirt sheets now, because I think they're ruining wrestling, but I heard rumours that she might be pregnant, which is insane, because, pardon me to judge, but I mean, this isn't even judging, this is just confusion. Isn't she, like, she's got to be late 30s now, so this is quite surprising. I mean, each to their own and that. But that definitely means a title, when you relinquish a title, you can't wrestle if you're pregnant. Doesn't matter how early you are, like, you just can't. So, yeah, if she relinquishes that title, Clash in Paris, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, book it. Maybe even throw Rhea Ripley in the mix, because they've shown that Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are just magic. Chuck anyone else in the mix, like Bianca Belair or Naomi, it's magic. Stephanie Vaquer's a great in-ring worker. She can definitely work with that. So that was my SmackDown opinions. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.